John D. Rockefeller, 1839 to 1937, organizer behind the Standard Oil Organization, became one of the world's richest men and a significant donor. Naturally introduced to unobtrusive conditions in upstate New York, he entered the then youngster oil business in 1863 by putting resources into a Cleveland, Ohio processing plant. In 1870, he laid out Standard Oil, which by the mid-1880s controlled nearly 90% of U.S. processing plants and pipelines. Pundits blamed Rockefeller for participating in deceptive practices, like savage estimating and plotting with rail lines to kill his rivals to acquire an imposing business model in the business. In 1911, the U.S. High Court tracked down Standard Oil disregarding hostile to trust regulations and requested it to disintegrate. During his life, Rockefeller gave more than $500 million to different charitable causes. John Davison Rockefeller, the child of a mobile sales rep, was brought into the world on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York. Enterprising even as a kid, the future oil head honcho brought in cash by raising turkeys, selling sweets and taking care of responsibilities for neighbors. In 1853, the Rockefeller family moved to the Cleveland, Ohio, region, where John went to secondary school before momentarily concentrated on accounting at a business school. In 1855, at age 16, he looking for gainful employment as an office representative at a Cleveland commission firm that purchased, sold and sent grain, coal and different items. He considered September 26, the day he began the position and entered the business world, so huge that as a grown-up he remembered this work day with a yearly festival. In 1859, Rockefeller and an accomplice laid out their own bonus firm. That very year, America's most memorable oil all-around was penetrated in Titusville, Pennsylvania. In 1863, Rockefeller and a few accomplices entered the flourishing new oil industry by putting resources into a Cleveland processing plant. In 1864, Rockefeller wedded Laura Celestia Seti Spellman, 1839 to 1915, an Ohio local whose father was a prosperous vendor, government official and abolitionist dynamic in the Underground Railroad. Laura Rockefeller turned into the namesake of Spellman School, the generally people of color's school in Atlanta, Georgia, that her better half aided finance. The Rockefellers proceeded to have 5 youngsters, 4 little girls, 3 of whom made due to adulthood, and 1 child, John D. Rockefeller Jr., Edith Rockefeller McCormick, Elizabeth Rockefeller Solid, Alta Rockefeller Prentice, and Alice Rockefeller, who kicked the bucket when she was 13 months old. In 1865, Rockefeller acquired cash to purchase out a portion of his accomplices and assume command over the treatment facility, which had turned into the biggest in Cleveland. Over the course of the following couple of years, he obtained new accomplices and extended his financial matters in the developing oil industry. At that point, lamp oil, got from oil and utilized in lights, was turning into a financial staple. In 1870, Rockefeller shaped the Standard Oil Organization of Ohio, alongside his more youthful sibling William, 1841 to 1922, Henry Flagler, 1830 to 1913, and a gathering of different men. John Rockefeller was its leader and biggest investor. Standard Oil acquired an imposing business model in the oil business by purchasing rival treatment facilities and creating organizations for circulating and promoting its items all over the planet. In 1882, these different organizations were consolidated into the Standard Oil Trust, which would control around 90% of the country's processing plants and pipelines. To take advantage of economies of scale, Standard Oil did all that from assemble its own oil barrels to utilize researchers to sort out new purposes for oil results. Rockefeller's huge riches and achievement made him an objective of muckraking writers, change lawmakers and other people who saw him as an image of corporate veracity and censured the strategies with which he'd constructed his realm. As the New York Times revealed in 1937, he was blamed for smashing out rivalry, getting rich on refunds from railways, paying off men to keep an eye on contending organizations, of settling on secret arrangements, of pressuring adversaries to join the Standard Oil Organization under danger of being constrained bankrupt, developing colossal fortunes on the vestiges of different men, etc. In 1890, the U.S. Congress passed the Sherman Antitrust Demonstration, the primary government regulation denying trusts and blends that limited exchange. After 2 years, the Ohio High Court disintegrated the Standard Oil Trust. In any case, the organizations inside the trust before long turned out to be essential for Standard Oil of New Jersey, what worked as a holding organization. In 1911, following quite a while of suit, the U.S. High Court governed Standard Oil of New Jersey was disregarding against trust regulations and constrained it to destroy. It was separated into in excess of 30 individual organizations. Rockefeller resigned from everyday business tasks of Standard Oil during the 1890s. Enlivened to a limited extent by individual plated-age big shot Andrew Carnegie, 1835 to 1919, who made a tremendous fortune in the steel business then, at that point, turned into a donor and offered the main part of his cash. Rockefeller gave the greater part $1 billion to different instructive, strict and logical causes through the Rockefeller establishment. Among his exercises, he subsidized the foundation of the College of Chicago and the Rockefeller Organization for Clinical Exploration, presently Rockefeller College. In his own life, Rockefeller was passionately strict, a balance advocate and an energetic golf player. His objective was to arrive at the age of 100. Nonetheless, he passed on at 97 on May 23, 1937, at the Casements, his colder time of year home in Ormond, Oceanside, Florida. Rockefeller possessed numerous homes, remembering a permanent place to stay for New York City, a bequest in Lakewood, New Jersey and a domain called Kaikut, Old Dutch for post, set on 3,000 sections of land close to Tarrytown, New York. He was covered at Lakeview Burial Ground in Cleveland.